now. Good afternoon, the Hollywood Times listeners and viewers. Today, we have the great pleasure to interview female country songwriter and brand new author, Aimee Mayo. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
How's it going in Nashville?
It's going good. It's beautiful weather. Like, this is my favorite time of year. And it's been really beautiful here.
We have a little bit of a heat wave again this week.
Are you in LA?
I'm in a city called Rancho Cucamonga, about 40 miles east of Los Angeles.
It's so pretty there.
we're kind of having to do this stuff at at home now and stuff because of the pandemic, and that was actually one of my questions for you. I was wondering what you and your husband, you've got 3 children and 2 dogs, I believe. What have you all been doing during this pandemic?
Well, I've been finishing up my book stuff, and I've written like 3 times on Zoom, and I actually love it. I've been hearing that like most of the veteran songwriters love it, and then a lot of the newer ones, they don't like it as much. But so it's crazy because I've only written 3 songs. Like, usually I'll write I'm always writing, but with songs, I've only written 3 songs in the last probably 6 months, which is like unheard of for me. But so I think it was the second song was this song that Tim McGraw just cut called Doggone. It's, I don't know if you've heard it, but it's one of my favorites in a while. And like, I tried to get people to write that song for 4 years. I sent that idea. It was a weird idea, but I just sent the idea and lyrics and everything to like people until finally I got somebody to write it with me. And then it got cut like 2 weeks later, which is unheard of. I mean, that usually it takes years. But have you heard that one?
I haven't heard it. I've got to go listen now. Come on, we got to listen to that one.
Are you a dog person?
I am.
Okay, it's like I've had more emotional text and stuff from this song because it's about losing your dog, and it's just precious. Like, I'm a dog freak, so like I've had a lot of people. I knew there was a song in it because I kept a friend of mine, Jaron Johnston. Do you know him from 3? Yeah. Okay. So he posted this post about 4 years ago when he lost his dog. And I read it and I just cried, and he had these pictures of him and his dog. Well, I tried to get people to write that because I kept seeing people on Instagram and Facebook. They would post like, please pray for my dog, or I lost my best friend. Like, and I knew there was a big song in that, like, just because it's something everybody, most people go through, and I'd never heard a song about it. And like it, but I love that. You'll have to listen to it. I really love that one. So that's the second one I wrote on Zoom.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Now you're married to Chris Lindsay. He's also a songwriter. So I'm going to have to get hold of your husband to talk to him. He should be sitting next to you.
He loves to talk. He's got a podcast. He's got a podcast you might like. It's called Pitch List. He's done like 50 something episodes. He did one last week with Jessie Jo Dillon, and it was really good.
Good. Nice plug, wife.
Yeah, I'm plugging. He'll love that because he's always asking me to plug it. And I always forget.
All right, listeners, you heard that. So very good. Now, have you and your husband written or plan on writing a song about the pandemic?
I've been wanting to write a song about the pandemic. Like, it's funny because we have 2 teenagers and a 20-year-old, and every time I go out to our studio ready to write, they're in there. And our daughter, she's always out there too, right in the middle of it. But so I've been in the mood to write something. I actually did start one thing about just kind of how you have to really stay in control of your feelings during this pandemic, because it's so easy to just see the negative stuff going on, and the sad stuff. It's like you really have to force yourself to see the good things too during all this.
Well, it sounds like you should be writing it with your kids.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Well, I started my first song with one of the kids during all this.
Well, that's something else, you know? It doesn't matter what age they are.
So,
Great. Well, let's go back in history. Say 1999. Let's talk about this Grammy nominated song called Amaze. Oh my gosh. That's the most amazing song. And that was recorded by Lonestar. It was co-written by you, your husband, Chris Lindsay, and another famous songwriter, Mr. Marv Green, who just happened to put the two of us together. So let's talk about that song. Thanks, Marv.
that song, it's a wild thing because when we wrote that song, Chris and me were falling in love, and then Marv and his wife Tasha were falling in love, and I'm convinced that all those feelings just got in that song, because every time the intro to that song, that steel guitar, that comes on, it's like you just I feel those feelings again. And I think people picked up on those real feelings, and energy that's inside that song. It, like, we had no idea when we were writing it. I thought the song didn't have a title. We were in the studio and I was like, this song doesn't even have a title. And Marv was like, well, maybe we can call it I'm Amazed by You. So that's what we put on when we turned it in. And then one of the publishers or somebody just shortened it to Amazed, which was great.
Wow.
And I wanted Tim McGraw to cut it, but I wrote like half the songs I wrote back then. I was trying to get him to record, but he had just had a big love song, and he's like, I'm not doing another big love song right now. So then Lonestar got it, and it was really wild because the single before ours, like, died at 73 or something, like, on the chart. It didn't even really chart. And so people were kind of telling us, don't get your hopes up too high and all this. And then we turned around and, like, it was just on the radio all the time, and I would hear people request it. And my mom was like, that song is she's like, that's going to be a big song. And since my dad was a songwriter, she's been around a lot of songs. So every now and then, she'll really love one, and she loved that one.
And you won BMI Songwriter of the Year in 2000, 20 years ago. Isn't that something?
Willie Nelson on your shirt was, when I got Songwriter of the Year, he got Icon of the Year. And that was the first time I ever met him. I was just kind of, it's like, you don't know what to say to Willie Nelson. Like, that'd be like him and Johnny Cash. I don't even know what, like, back then, what you'd say to Johnny Cash either. But it was incredible, like, because one year we won Song of the Year, and that year Dolly Parton won Icon, and then the other year when I got Songwriter of the Year, it was Willie. So both times it was like big legends, like as big as it gets. It was exciting.
Well, like, since you said, like, your dad, his name is Danny, right?
Danny, yeah, Danny
And he wrote Keeper of the Stars. That was my most famous, amazing song back when it came out. In the 90s. That was a great song.
Big wedding song, just like ours was. And then my dad also wrote a song. I don't know if you know it. It's called Feed Jake.
I didn't know he wrote it.
That song's about a dog. And I always wanted to write a song about a dog because I saw the power that one had, because even though he had bigger hits, people just came up to him about that song all the time, wanting to talk about the dog. I mean, through the years, it was probably Keeper of the Stars. A lot of people came up about that one, but Feed Jake was second after it.
So how old were you when you wrote I read that you wrote poems. How old were you when you wrote your very first song?
8.
8 years old. What was it about?
I've got a recording of it. It was, my parents had just got divorced, and it was the first time that I had seen my dad since the divorce. And so we went to a movie, and then on the way back up to my grandparents where he was staying, we went to see the Buddy Holly story, and in that movie they wrote a song, and I'd never seen anybody write a song before. Like, I'd never really thought about where songs come from. And so on the way up to their house, I said, I know what I'm going to be when I grow up. And he's like, what? And I said, a songwriter. And he said, well, what makes you think you can do that? And I said, because I got a title. So then I told him my title, and it was, if only I could hold you again, I'd never let you go. And then he said, I'd always let you know that you had a friend if only I could hold you again. Well, about 6 months later, he showed up with this little cardboard box full of 45 records, and he had made a demo of our song. And when I saw my name on it, it like just locked that in my heart forever, that was all I ever wanted to do. And
Great.
that was my first song.
Oh my God, that's amazing. See, there you go. Now, you also wrote a song, a very famous song. This one's for the girls, recorded by Martina McBride. Where did you get the inspiration for that song?
I loved Cyndi Lauper growing up, and I always, like, I wanted to be Cyndi Lauper. I always loved, like, the girl anthem, you know, like, girls just want to have fun. And so that song, I had that idea for a while, but wasn't quite sure how to do it. And I took it to Hillary Lindsay, and Chris and Hillary and me wrote it. And it was so funny because Chris, out of all the songs we've written, that one, Chris was like, this is a hit. He thinks everything's a hit, but he really thought that, I mean, he just went crazy for that one. And so Martina recorded it. And when she did, I didn't even remember this. She told me like about it. She said, do you know the first thing you ever asked me? And I was like, no. And she said, that I said, can my grandmother be in that video? So she is in the video, and she's playing like an electric guitar, like in the video. And then Martina got me to be in the video too. And I'm just so glad I have that now, you know, because she's passed away, but I still can show my kids that video.
Oh, how wonderful. That was so nice of Martina. Yeah,
Yes.
I remember that video. Now I've got to go look at it again. That was great. Oh my goodness. Well, I know you've written songs for Tim McGraw, as you said, Faith Hill, Carrie Underwood, and many, many more. I'd be here for a while. I'd run out of time, all the ones you've written for. Is there anyone out there who you would like to write a song specifically for them that you haven't yet?
Yeah, the Dixie Chicks.
Who?
The Dixie Chicks.
Oh my God, the Dixie Chicks. I love those girls.
Her voice just blows me away. I just love Natalie Maines, and they're just so good. Like, I always wanted to get a song cut on them when they were in Nashville. I like tried to stalk her, and I gave her, like, at a concert, I gave her a CD. This was probably 15 years ago. I gave her a CD with some songs, and I was just like really hyper and telling her, like, you know, I love you, and I've always wanted to cut on you. And then the next day, somebody said that she said that girl was kind of crazy, but I loved the songs. So, like, maybe someday I would love to write with them or get something, you know, recorded by them. That's the first one that popped in my head. Out of country music, that's always been the one that I wish I'd had a song cut on.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's a good answer. Now, also, I heard that you wrote a song for Backstreet Boys called Helpless When She Smiles, and Adam Lambert, Sleepwalker. Tell us the history of those songs.
Probably, like, in my whole life as a songwriter, that song Sleepwalker that Adam Lambert recorded, it was the wildest story because I watched him on American Idol and just fell in love with him, because Freddie Mercury is one of my favorite singers of all time. I just love Freddie Mercury. And so I just wanted a song on Adam Lambert so bad. Like, I've never, you know, like, I just was obsessed with trying to get on that record. And I had no idea how I could do it, because I saw there was one article I saw online, and it said working with Adam Lambert, and it had like all these big producers like Max Martin and Lady Gaga and Pink and just all these big writers. And then it said desperately trying to work with Adam Lambert, and it had my name. And it was just, oh my gosh, but at least my name was on there, I thought. But so we wrote this song with Ron Tedder from One Republic. And he, like, it was crazy how he even came into our life. We just got a writing appointment with him out of nowhere. And so when we wrote, he didn't know who Adam Lambert was. And I was like, Ryan wanted to write a country song, but I talked him into writing this pop song. And it's funny because, like, I still couldn't imagine, that was the only pop song I had written in years. And then it just worked out to where Adam Lambert recorded it. And I couldn't even believe it, because at that time, everybody was trying to get on that record. And it just showed me, that anything's possible. I mean, that probably out of the songwriting stuff, that just showed me, anything is possible, and it can happen even if you have no idea, how it's gonna happen.
Wow. Well, with that said, what advice do you have for new songwriters?
I'm just going to go with what pops in my head first. The first thing that popped in my head is don't give up. I think somebody was saying, I did this talk at NSAI about 8 months ago, and somebody was saying that a lot of the people that come to Nashville, that they'll get like a 6-month lease, or rent a place. The thing, like, I feel about songwriting is you just got to learn how to do it like you would any other like a degree. You know what I mean? Like, it usually takes people around 4 years to have a hit. But like there's like things, and this is writing for a publisher every day, or just writing on your own every day. Like, we always say that talent is time. The time you put into something, you get better and better and better. So don't give up and just work your butt off, and then believe it can happen. Don't get jaded, because that's easy to do. You know what I mean? Like, so many people just get jaded, and once you're jaded and bitter, like, and think it can't happen, there's just about no way it can.
Don't ever take no for an answer. Just keep going.
No to me is not yet.
Good one. That's good advice. Well, any other things you got about songwriting happening right now in your life?
Let's see. The last thing I had recorded was the Tim McGraw thing, and then before that, I had a song, Blake Shelton. It was my first Blake Shelton hit. It went #1, and I was so excited. Like, and we had an awesome #1 party and met Gwen Stefani. And Blake Shelton is just like, he just felt like my cousin or something. He's so relatable and normal. And we had a lot in common because we moved to Nashville at the same time. But I told him, I said, I've wanted to cut on you since you had a mullet.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that song though, like the Tim McGraw one happened quick, but that Blake Shelton song, it went on for years. Like, he put that song on hold, kept it on hold for 9 months, let it go, and then it didn't make that record. Then he put it on hold again for 6 months and let it go again. And I was just like, what is going on with this song? And then out of the blue, we got a call that he found it in a box somewhere and was like, oh yeah, I love this song, and then went in and recorded it.
What's the song?
It's called Every Time I Hear That Song.
That's yours? Oh, yeah. Wonderful. What's wrong with that guy? Should have been recorded a long time ago.
I love Blake. I'd love to get another song on him. He's just, I don't know. It's crazy how he has stayed so good for so long. and then I had a song with Kenny Chesney around the same time. He's probably my oldest friend in Nashville. Like we knew each other when we were broke. We just both like were not knowing if anything was ever going to happen. He used to come in where I waited tables, and I felt sorry for him, and I would give him, like, he would order a hamburger, but I would give him fries and a Coke just because, like, he would just get a hamburger and water.
Something. That's a great story. Thanks for sharing that. Oh my goodness. So now with it back to that Blake, now you need to write a song that's called A Song Found in a Box and give it to him, right?
I love that. I love that. We had a title similar that we tried to mess with and couldn't figure out what to do with.
That would be funny for him.
Crazy how things happen because that's so unpredictable.
Right? Oh my goodness. Well, so let's talk to this brand new author here. Let's talk about that new book, Talking to the Sky. Do you have it?
Nobody's seen this yet.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
I haven't put it on social media or anything yet, but I got these advanced reader copies to send out like to media and to send out to like just some of my favorite authors. I already got one quote back from, this is a memoir. And so one of my favorite memoirs, Running with Scissors, Augustin Burroughs that wrote that, he said like, this is from out of nowhere came this searing emotional powerhouse everyone must read or something like that. And it was just, my husband couldn't believe, like, because I just like struggled so hard. I mean, I would have never thought that I would get like, you know, a quote from Augustin, because I went to his book signings and stood in line, and like he's just a big hero of mine.
Congratulations on that. That's something.
I'm hoping we get some more good ones. We're just now sending it out. Like it's going to come out I'm arguing with my publicist. I want it to come out as soon as possible, but it's definitely going to be out before December 1st. I want to get it on Amazon pre-order. I worked on it for 15 years. So I'm just like, I can't wait for it to come out. It's just taken so long.
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you. I know, you know, that it's your heart on paper and life purpose. So that's the best kind of memoirs to have, because then we get to know, you know, more about you and your life. And I know, I'm not sure if this is in the book, but I know you and I talked about it via text, because we were talking about the fires here. And you know, you told me that you burned down your house in the 11th grade.
My mom and stepdad, I kept this like for 30 years. Nobody knew. I kept it a secret because I already had like a really just rough relationship with my stepdad. So I was terrified for him to find out. And like I just had a lot of fire. Like that was one thing with the cover. I don't know if you can see, but I
saw that.
Like it caught on fire because I accidentally burned the house down. And then when I moved to Nashville, finally my car burst into flames and almost killed me. But yeah, it's like the story is just like the hero's journey. You know what I mean? Like coming out of abusive family. And I was looking at the back. I'll have to send you a copy of it. But then I got to Nashville finally, and well, like the book starts when my dad shot himself on Christmas Eve, like, and then I just had a really crazy life. Like we went from technically homeless, then my dad made millions, and then he died homeless. And when I first got to Nashville, I got married real quick to this country singer he beat me up all the time. And like I don't know, it's like I can't even remember that girl almost. When I read my diaries, it just makes me I can cry. It makes me so mad. So I'm hoping that like, and I tried to kill myself before I got out of Nashville. So like, there's a lot of things that I'm hoping will help people. You know, I think that's why I wrote it, because I just felt compelled to write it. Like I just couldn't not write it.
Oh, I can't wait to turn those pages.
For so long, I was so scared. Like, I just dealt with so much fear letting go of it, you know? And I think that's another thing with a lot of songwriters. I think a lot of, or writers in general, just of fear, you know, fear of rejection or fear of not being good enough. And like, and nobody, like with the book, my biggest fear was like that I would work so hard on something and then nobody would care. You know what I mean? But that, like, but the feedback that I've gotten, I think like good things are going to happen. That's what like so far, even though it's coming out in the middle of a pandemic and bookstores, nobody's going to bookstores, but I think like more people are probably reading since they're stuck at home. So
It's starting to open up, and you know, and then they can order online. I mean, you've got Amazon, so don't worry about it, and it's going to make a perfect holiday gift. So you
yeah,
know, everyone's got to order one for themselves and get them for all their book clubs, and don't ever just buy one book. You've got to buy several so you can give them out and start.
I love to give books for presents. Like that's what I was talking to Martina. She's a big reader, and Martina, she's just been so encouraging like throughout this whole thing. But she's like, I'm getting a box full for Christmas presents, and I was so happy to hear that. But I love books. I love to give books as presents and to get them.
I read that you own your own publishing company called A Little Blue Typewriter Music. What is that? Where did that title come from?
So back to when my dad shot himself, like we didn't know if he was going to make it, but he shot himself on Christmas Eve, and so he had gambled away the Christmas money my mom gave him, like to get Christmas for my brother and me. And after he got out of the hospital, it was around Valentine's Day, and he gave me this little blue, I still have it. He gave me this little blue typewriter, and it was kind of like my like Christmas present that I never got or whatever. But I don't know, it's always been so special to me. And it's one of the few, since the house burned down, it's weird because the only two things that I have are all my diaries, which that's insane, you know, because they're paper, but they were in a steel, like a metal trunk. And so they didn't burn. My brother's baseball cards didn't burn. And then my typewriter was at my grandmother's. So, so I have it like, you know, like I don't have many pictures or anything like that, but it's one thing that's special to me.
This was fake, that typewriter, see?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get that book.
In this book, and this goes back to song, makes me think about new songwriters too. My very favorite line says, all my greatest gifts have come wrapped in ribbons of pain. And that, like, I think a lot of times you have to go through some painful stuff, you know, to get to where you're trying to go. And that's one thing, like, you know, and things don't always happen the way you think they're gonna happen. That's another thing. Like I can be bad about just getting set on this path and thinking like there was this editor that I wanted, and I had my heart set on her. She was on my dream board for like 10 years. And then I met her in New York, and I don't know if anybody has ever been so rude to me in my whole entire life. I mean, I went to the bathroom and burst into tears. I was at this book expo, and then I just walked back to the hotel. But she's what made me send my book to like 25 agents that day, because first I was just devastated, and then I got mad, and then I sent it, you know, so it got the ball rolling. And then I found this editor that was the perfect editor for me, but it didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen, you know. And that's a lot of the thing with songwriting. People think that, you know, that they're going to move here and get a writing deal really fast. You know what I mean? And sometimes it just takes a while. You got to get out and play your songs and get them heard and meet people and write with new people. And then it'll just work itself how it's supposed to, as long as you're working and not giving up.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So we will definitely thank you for taking the time to talk to us about your songwriting experiences. some of your tragedies, condolences for your losses. But we're looking forward to the upcoming book, and we'll be talking then. You have a great and blessed day in Nashville.
Okay, you too.
Thanks for taking the time.
Okay.